All right, well, the day has finally come. Just got a call from Madman at the shop, and he has finished up his final project that was in line before me. Thank God for COVID and supply chain delays, but this baby is going in to get its chassis done on Monday. So we may yet be able to make 2.0 race week. I'm excited. But since I haven't touched this thing since January, when I put the distributor in it, I have a few little things to finish up before I send it over to him. I want to undo the battery box and get that loose, because that's all going to have to move. And I'll probably pull the fuel tank bolts for him, or just the nuts. But all that's going to have to move most likely a little bit around when he comes through to get the bars for the roll bar. And then a few little things up front. One main thing I really want to do is I got to redo the kickdown for the transmission, because it's super long right now, and I've got it over tight. I want to get it cut down to the right length, and then once it's cut down to the right length, then we can have that hooked up right and maybe get it so it'll go into overdrive. But so right now we're gonna set this thing over here somewhere and maybe see if we can get that thing running and get her into the carport for a little bit of work before she goes to the shop.
I love fuel injection.
Man, that's great. I truly don't understand why people are so resistant to putting fuel injection on cars. God, that thing's been sitting since mid-January, almost 6 full months. I turned the key on and off twice. She fired up, idled, perfect. What else do you want? I'm just over the moon. I love this thing. It's so cool that I'm working on it again. So, we're going to get this thing ready to go. And like I said, the biggest thing I need to do is just in the trunk. I need to just take some screws out of my battery hold down box so he doesn't have to do that. Find out how horribly rigged this is in some areas, which he's going to anyway. But I'll leave my driving pillow in it because the seat has to be so low for my helmet to clear the roof, and I don't want to take that off. I may end up, unfortunately, losing the door cards, or at least this part of it. We'll have to see if he can sneak the door bars around that. If he can, great. If not, what I'll probably do is, we'll see what we need to do. We'll pull this handle out. We'll maybe slit the material and pull that off, and then just make it flush with a little drawer, because you can close the door with the window. There's no AC in it anyway, so the windows are going to be open most of the time. But yeah, so man, I'm excited. About time. Yay! Thank God. We may make Rocky Mountain Race, or we may make Race Week 2.0 in September yet. I got in, so I've got an entry for this thing to run in Hot Rod, and we will see. All right, the back is all stripped out. I think the fuel tank's probably going to be okay where it is with the bars coming down, but this is going to have to go somewhere else. I don't know exactly where. I may end up having to increase some wire length or whatever, wherever he ends up putting it. But the box had been screwed to the floor, so I just did that. So the only thing that's holding it in is this little 7/16 for right now. And yeah, he's going to love my wiring. I know it. Oh well. Oh well. But yeah, so everything else should come apart fairly easily. Pretty obvious where the attachment screws are. I got a bunch of 8AN plugs for the hoses if he has to take them off, which I expect he will. And that's about all we need to do back here, I think. So now up under the hood, I think the only thing I really have to do is that kickdown. Eventually I'm going to have to mount the new fan for the transmission cooler, wire that up to the switch, but it's not too big a deal. And yeah, because that's going to be kind of down where he's going to be working, and so we're going to hold off on that. There you go. Alright, got the kick down all set up. Got her shortened so it's not 8 feet long. Ended up taking about 1 foot out of it. So that's pretty much done. Probably done for the day because it's horribly hot and I'm dripping all over the place. Alright, something else I thought of is I don't really have a shift light in the hot rod. And that makes it kind of difficult to shift or know when, because the Holley will blink the RPM box, but it's a little tiny thing and it's off to the right. So what I'm going to do is, I got a really old school shift light tack there that I've had forever. In this thing, I ran no other gauges other than than that. And I'm going to pull that out and see if I can mount that in the hot rod, because that'll be a nice shift light. I just looked at I'm sorry about the halo here, but it's like 100% humidity out here, and my wife keeps it 68 in the house, so we're fogging up a little bit. Sorry, it'll dry up eventually. But just looked at the seat belts on this thing. They got a July of '01 date, so they're kind of out of date. Still in good shape, but not really in date. That's why all the hot rod stuff's going to be new. So I'm going to go in there and start nipping all of this stuff up, following the wires, see if I can get all that disconnected, and go see what I can hook up. Alright, well, we got her out. Got our red wire, which I believe is battery positive, key on. Black wire is ground. This green wire was attached to the trigger, and I gotta go figure out what this little blue wire was, because that's the one that was connected up under the dash. I don't know where that went. So I gotta go look up, see if I can find the directions for this old Autometer LED shift light in tack. Alright, found the instructions. They still make them. They ain't cheap. About 270 bucks for this thing these days. I don't remember what the hell it was when I bought it 20 years ago. But yeah, this one's cooler than I remembered. This blue wire is actually for a secondary RPM to turn the light on. So you hook that to your brake switch, or your trans brake or whatever, but you hook that to your brake switch and you can use it to stage. So basically when that has 12 volts on it, you will go to a lower RPM, which, like 3,000 or whatever. So for a no electronics car, which my Firebird was, and which certainly this car will be, you get it set up so that when you got your brakes on and you're on the starting line, you put your foot down, and when you hit the RPM you want, the light comes on. You don't have to look at the tack. And then when you take your foot off the brake, this goes to no volts, and then your regular RPM signal goes to your high shift, and then you can shift when it comes on for shifting. So that's pretty slick. I had forgotten that did that, because they have versions that don't have that, much cheaper. But that's why that went up onto the dash, because that was attached to the brake switch. So, which is cool. So we're going to get that thing, try to get it installed, see what we can do. Got to get the truck out of here, and then we will get the car in, and I think I can actually hook all these wires up inside, because under the dash going to the instrument panel control, I believe I have everything I need here without having to go through the firewall again. So that's what we're going to do. Alright, well, yesterday was good. Like I said, we got the shift light mounted. The launch control, or the launch RPM, is not working, even though I do have the 12 volts going to the blue wire with the brake on, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. But again, it's 15 years old, so who knows. But the upper shift limit is working, so that's going to be really the main thing I need. I think the last thing I want to do to it before I send it on its way is, when I took the seat belts out, I removed a couple of the main bolts that hold this to the frame. One over there too. So I'm going to dump out all of the junk that came out when I did all the seat belt removal, and see if I can find, I think it was these, I think, what was under there, and put it back in, so he'll at least have an idea of how everything's supposed to be mounted. Well, exhaust hanger. No longer needed that, and so that's what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to just jack it up with the floor jack and take a peek under there and see what we got to do, and that's where we're going to end up. I just ordered a second seat and brackets for it if that's what he's going to need to use. We will see how that's going to work. I'm obviously going to leave the mounting up to him because he's building it. But I need to get another seat for the passenger side. That'll be in this week, I hope. I'll drop it off there after it comes in, and then it's whatever he wants to do. So I'm gonna start getting this thing jacked up. All right, got those in. So all the frame bolts are back in it, and I think that's about it. So we're gonna go get the trailer out, get it hooked up, because it's got to be hitched up special to hold this thing up. And then we are gonna go get this thing loaded, get her tied down, get her covered up, and get her ready to go to the shop. And no leaks, finally. As long as that's set, that transmission would have, I mean, it's still leaking and there's no oil in it. I don't know how that transmission, it like generates trans fluid. I don't know what it does. But no, this no leaks at all. So I'm pretty darn happy with it. So yeah, we're gonna go get the trailer set up and see if we can get this thing ready to go to the shop. All right, well, she is set to go. So we'll be taking her to the shop after work tomorrow, and you know, we'll see. Hopefully she can get done fairly quickly, and we can get her finished up and get a little bit of testing on it before we have to run the race. We got a shot, I think. We got a shot. So there you go. That's an update on the 37. I may stop by the shop every now and again, see if I can get some pictures or some video, just show how it's going along. But that'll be it for now. Hope you're all doing well. Happy Father's Day. Take care.